Okay, so have you ever like completely choked trying to like speak English,
Oh, yeah.
especially like in front of other people?
Oh, totally.
I used to get so nervous. Um, I just wanted to sound perfect and it made me like overthink everything. So I'd fumble my words or just like completely lose my train of thought.
I've been there.
But then I found this guide and it honestly like totally changed my approach to speaking English.
Cool.
It's called Fluent English, 6 powerful speaking tips.
Yeah.
And today we're going to deep dive into it and see what golden nuggets we can extract.
Awesome.
So like right off the bat, the guy kind of throws the traditional rule book out the window.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like forget memorizing tons of vocab or drilling grammar rules. Instead, it's all about like tapping into how our brains naturally learn language.
Interesting.
So the first tip is to use phrases, not just individual words.
Okay.
And this really blew my mind at first.
Yeah.
It's like instead of saying a robotic hello, you'd say, hey, how's it going? It instantly sounds more natural and fluent.
Totally. And that's because our brains are wired for patterns.
Hmm.
So when you learn phrases, you're basically giving your brain a shortcut.
Okay.
You're internalizing these ready-made chunks of language that you can then use effortlessly.
So it's like having building blocks ready to assemble.
Exactly.
And this leads perfectly into the next tip, which might sound a little counterintuitive.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
You ready for this? Forget about grammar rules.
What?
Yeah, this is while you're speaking.
Really?
It's more about shifting your focus from accuracy to fluency.
Huh.
Think about it. When you're having conversation, you don't have time to mentally, like, diagram every sentence.
True.
If you get too caught up in grammar, you'll end up hesitant and unnatural.
Right.
Like just completely frozen.
Yeah.
And, like, I know grammar is important for clear communication.
Oh, absolutely.
But the guide's point is that you don't need to be a grammar expert to speak fluently.
Right.
It's more about getting your message across effectively. And then as you become more comfortable with speaking, you can like gradually refine your grammar over time.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's like learning to ride a bike, you don't start by studying the physics of balance. You just hop on and start pedaling.
Yeah, you just got to go for it.
And speaking of getting comfortable, the next tip emphasizes the importance of listening.
Oh, listening is key.
Right. It's amazing how much we can absorb just by like passively listening to native speakers.
It's true.
Movies, podcasts, music, it all provides like valuable exposure to the rhythms and patterns of spoken English.
It's like training your ear to recognize the music of the language.
I love that analogy.
Thanks.
So once you've like trained your ear, the guide suggests taking it a step further.
Okay, how so?
Actively repeat what you hear.
Ah, interesting.
There's this technique called shadowing.
I've heard of that.
Have you tried it?
I have.
It's essentially mimicking a native speaker in real time. So you listen to a phrase or sentence, and then you try to repeat it exactly as you heard it.
Right.
Paying attention to pronunciation, intonation, even like the pauses.
It can be tough.
It is super challenging.
Yeah.
But it's so effective.
It is.
It's like you're borrowing the voice of a native speaker
Mhm.
and internalizing their patterns.
I like that.
And this actually seems to tie in nicely with the next tip, which emphasizes deep learning.
Okay.
So it's about mastering a smaller set of words thoroughly rather than memorizing like endless vocabulary lists.
Right, so it's quality over quantity.
Exactly.
Instead of just knowing the dictionary definition of a word, you learn its nuances, its various applications.
You know how to use it in different contexts.
Right, like you could learn 100 ways to say hello.
Oh, yeah.
But if you can only use 1 or 2 of them naturally in conversation, what's the point?
So true.
It's about really owning those words.
It's like having a toolbox full of tools that you actually know how to use.
I love that.
And finally, we come to the last tip, and this one might surprise you.
Okay, hit me with it.
Learn and retell stories.
Stories.
Yeah, storytelling might seem like a basic activity,
Uh-huh.
but it's actually like a powerful tool for language acquisition.
Interesting.
When you retell a story, you're forced to actively construct sentences, recall vocabulary, and think in English.
Mm-hmm.
And because stories are engaging, you're more likely to remember the language you use.
That's cool. I like that.
Like turn learning into a game.
Yeah?
I remember when I was learning Spanish, I'd try to retell simple fairy tales.
That's a good idea.
It was fun, and it helped me internalize basic sentence structures and vocabulary.
Nice.
So we've covered a lot of ground today,
We have.
from using phrases to ditching grammar rules while speaking,
Mm-hmm.
to the importance of listening, repetition, deep learning, and storytelling.
It's a lot to unpack.
These 6 tips offer a practical roadmap to fluent English.
They do.
And what I find so valuable about them is that they go beyond just speaking.
Oh, yeah, how simple.
They encourage you to engage with the language in a more holistic way.
I see.
To develop an intuitive understanding of how it works.
I like that a lot.
And the best part is that these tips can be applied to any language you're learning.
So true.
So think about your own language learning journey.
Okay.
What's one small step you could take today to incorporate one of these tips into your practice?
That's a great question.
Remember, fluency is a journey, not a destination.
I love that.
Enjoy the process.
Absolutely.